H here. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 10 things that make you more likable. Just remember, everything in this video is coming from my own perspective and viewpoint. Take what advice you want and let the rest slide right off of you like Teflon. Let's do this. Number one, you smile. Okay, so who here doesn't agree that smiling is a universal response? Unless you're a miserable ask your mother for sixpence. If someone smiles at you, odds are you're going to smile back, yeah? Smiling makes you feel good, and I believe more often than not makes the person you're smiling at feel good too. You never know, you may be the only one that showed someone kindness today. Smile, and you know what? The good in this world will fucking smile with you. Number two, you graciously accept and give compliments. Yes, believe it or not, accepting a compliment can make you far more likable. As can liking this video and subscribing, according to a study I just made up myself. Far more likable indeed. In all seriousness, have you ever paid someone a compliment and they've snapped back at you in disagreement? I mean, I'm sure we've all done it, but it can leave the person that gave the compliment wondering why the bloody hell they bothered. But when you accept the compliment, it not only makes you feel better, but undoubtedly the person that gave the compliment feels good too. The exact same applies when you give compliments. I will often stop someone in the street to compliment them if I see something worth noting. But there's nothing more uncomfortable when you compliment someone, tell them they look nice, and they stare at you blankly. I mean, what the fuck is that? Give yourself an uppercut if you've ever done this. Just say thank you. Or when you pay someone a compliment and they just nod. I actually know someone who does this. Compliments are meant to be just that, complimentary. A nicety, and when you graciously accept it, you definitely shine brighter. Number three, you really listen when others talk. This is such a likable trait. When someone speaks to you, and rather than chomping at the bit to interrupt or speak about yourself, you actually listen. I mean, give me a boom in the comments if you know someone that every time you try to tell a story, they turn it into a competition. And suddenly the story about you becomes a story about them. Of course, there are most likely times we've all unconsciously hijacked a conversation, whether out of excitement or a recollection has come to mind. But the serial offenders who will barely let you get 2 words in before the motherfuckers are making your story theirs. It happens all too often. So when you actually take the time to let someone finish what they're saying and show genuine interest, it most definitely makes you so much more likable than the interrupter. Number 4, you have a good moral compass. Whilst none of us are perfect, we have all sinned and most likely all have a skeleton or 2 in our closet and made mistakes aplenty. But when you have a good heart and try to do most things from a place of good, you have values and morals that make you a trusted friend, an ally, and one that others can count on. This will draw others to you as opposed to repel them from you. Number 5, you are authentically you. You don't put on airs and graces, you don't stand on ceremony, and what others get is what they see with you. You'd rather put the work in for everything you have rather than cheat and fake your way through life. There is nothing fake or pretentious about you. You are an open book. You don't judge people by their job or their net worth, and you sure as shit don't judge them by the amount of followers or subscribers they have. You show up in your authenticity and have a take me as I am or not at all attitude, which in itself will make you more appealing and more likable to those who themselves are authentically real. Number 6, you stand up for what you believe in. That's it. There's no trying to impress others or follow what everyone else thinks and says. You've your own opinions and beliefs and you stand strong in them even if your voice shakes. Even though not everyone will agree with you, you stay the course anyway, which in itself is appealing and inspiring to others. Even when your knees are knocking and your voice quivers, you'll still stand your ground because that's exactly who you are. Number 7, you stand up for the underdog. You're not one that is enamored by status and you have zero fear of going against the grain. You stand up for what's right even when it pisses people off. You will be an advocate, a voice for those who are yet strong enough to advocate for themselves. You'll lift another up even if all others are joined in tearing them down. You will do right by the battlers, the go-getters, the little people, because you know exactly what it's like to be there. People like you because you do not ever try to look down upon others from your pedestal, but try to elevate others to be up there with you. Number 8, you forgive people. Whilst it's okay, you can readily admit that you cannot always forgive some people, or at the very least forget. You in most cases will certainly try to forgive others. You accept that most are just as susceptible to mistakes as you or I, but believe most deserve a second chance. Of course, I'm not talking about things that society or most of us would deem unforgivable. No one else can deem what should or shouldn't be forgiven in another's own life and connections. But the mistakes that others make that they try to redeem themselves from, you do have room in your heart that leaves you open to forgiveness. This in itself is a likable quality, and we never know ourselves when we too may need the same courtesy. Number 9, you can admit when you make mistakes. Again, we are only human, we all make mistakes, and mistakes are a huge part of life. Funny thing is, some people would rather have teeth pulled than ever accept their mistakes. Accountability is completely foreign to them, and they soon get a wide reputation for it. But when you can admit your fuck-ups and blunders, it's definitely far more endearing than someone in denial, feigning perfection or blame shifting. We all slip up. We all sometimes start or do something mindless or stupid, or even allow ourselves to get caught up in petty gossip or the heat of the moment. We are all perfectly imperfect, flawed, and this is perfectly okay because none of us are on our own there. But when you can stand and own your mistakes, that is not only going to make others see you as more likable, but more trustworthy too. Number 10, you have no idea how fabulous you are. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. When you are one of those people that go through life with really no concept of your magnetism, you're fucking good. There is nothing more dislikable than someone that thinks they're all that in a bag of fucking shit. Now, I know people with low self-esteem can often accuse those that are confident of that, but that's just sour grapes. They could only hope for half the charisma. Some people see themselves as much greater than they really are, but those of you with no concept of your great, you are the people that shine. You are the beautiful godsends that make a beautiful difference in this world. Those of you that don't have to tell others how great you are because it shines from you like a beacon. Those of you that make each day better for those around you. Even on the days you may not be feeling great about yourself. You are the people that are likable. You are without question much more liked than you could ever know. You are stardust, you are light. Keep shining in your fabulousness because you really glow. Thank you for being here. If you found value in this video and you'd like to, please be sure to like and subscribe. Stay awesome. Now go get what's yours.
Break out of your shell.